All right, today in class we've been talking about subordinating conjunctions. If you remember, subordinating conjunctions are if, because, when, while, although, and there are more which we'll talk about in class. All right, a subordinating conjunction, I want to give you a definition and then we'll go back in and we'll break this apart and kind of talk about, well, what exactly is this saying? A subordinating conjunction connects two thoughts to make a complex sentence. The thought with the subordinating conjunction cannot stand alone. It needs the rest of the sentence to make sense, okay? Now, what I want to talk about is, what is a subordinating conjunction? Well, we talked about this today in class. Imagine if I walked up to you and I said, up the hill, okay? And then I walk off. You're going to be left scratching your head thinking, well, am I supposed to go up the hill? Is there something up the hill? What about up the hill? Okay? I did not give you a complete sentence. I gave you a fragment. That means part of a sentence. All right? So what a subordinating conjunction does is it will help connect, okay, two thoughts together. One of those thoughts will be a sentence fragment. Now, I just gave you an example, up the hill. That's a sentence fragment. It can't stand by itself. It cannot stand by itself. It needs some things added to it to make the rest of the sentence make sense. So let's go back to our example. I come up to you and I say, up the hill. Well, you don't know what I mean by that. You're going to be scratching your head trying to figure out, well, what is he talking about? Now, if I came up to you later and I said, I need for you to go up the hill and get some water, okay? Then you're going to know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. You're going to know exactly what I want you to do. I've added some to that sentence, okay? But a phrase, a sentence fragment, a phrase like that cannot stand by itself, okay? It leaves you asking the question, what are we supposed to do? Who is it talking about? Okay, so let's look at an example. All right, I have on the board here, it says, because a storm was coming, we went home early, okay? So let's look at this and break it down together. If this is all you saw, because a storm was coming, you would be asking, because what? What am I supposed to do? Okay, because the storm is coming, what am I supposed to do? All right, so this part, this phrase, needs some help. It needs something added to it that will help it. All right, so here is our subordinating or our sentence fragment, okay? This is your sentence fragment that I've underlined. All right, if you saw this, we went home early by itself, you know that that is a complete sentence. It means it has a subject and a predicate with it, okay? We went home early, you would understand what that means. But let's focus at this point, because a storm was coming. Well, we don't know what we need to add to it, all right? Remember, I said our subordinating conjunction, we need to look for this, and it says because. It starts with the word because. That's a subordinating conjunction, okay? Because a storm was coming, we went home early, all right? So now those two together help form a complete thought. Subordinating conjunctions are if, because, when, while, and although. And I told you that there are more, which we'll talk about in class. Now going back to this example. This is a subordinating conjunction that starts the sentence. Sometimes they will be at the end, and we'll talk more about that in class. Okay? Now, here's where I want to quiz you. Your challenge tonight, or when you watch the video, is I want you to write 5 sentences using subordinating conjunctions. Okay? So what I want to see on your paper is 5 sentences written down, and I want you to have some subordinating conjunctions in there. For example, I did one for you. We planned to head home if the rain became too heavy. Okay? We know that we plan to head home, if that's all we saw by itself, that is a complete sentence. But if all we saw was, if the rain became too heavy, it doesn't tell us anything, okay? So this needs some extra, this fragment needs some extra help. I'm going to underline the fragment for you, okay? This part of the sentence needs extra help, all right? So we've got to put a subordinating conjunction in there, and I'm going to circle it for you. If, all right? So if the rain became too heavy is what we're looking for. So you're going to go back and write 5 examples of subordinating conjunctions, just like what I've done here and like you saw earlier in the video. In class, we will also take some time. I'm going to give you a little quiz over this to see how many people really understand what subordinating conjunctions really are. This week at the end of the week, part of your selection test will be about subordinating conjunctions. So make sure you understand what this is. If you don't understand, just come and ask me, or you can replay the video again and talk to your friends about it, or talk to me, whichever you need to do. But I want you to understand what subordinating conjunctions are. Thank you. Have a great day.